welcome to the Sip and Chat. I'm Marlene of Love Marlene 411, and we have my wonderful co host, Miss Nexa.
Hello, Miss Marlene. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, amazing, amazing. So first I'm gonna start with myself. The sip and chat, we sip and we chat about all different type of topics. And I got some hot chocolate because I was tired today. I gotta wake up.
I'm sure you are. I'm pretty sure work was straight yesterday.
Yep,
I mean,
very strenuous. Yep. Very strenuous.
yeah, you were
So
probably
working
got a little
hard.
so all morning.
Yep.
I'm sure you were. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute myself. Anyway,
Well, let me. We always up to shenanigans. Every time I always say I'm going to be good, and I never am.
no
Okay,
comment.
no comment. Okay, so I'm having a hot chocolate. Miss Nexie, what are you sipping on?
Green tea. I'm gonna surprise you today.
What?
Green tea.
No, Miss Nexie.
Yes, ma'am.
You, the coffee connoisseur, huh?
Miss Marlene, let's not use what I don't understand. I'm just kidding. No, Miss Marlene, I had already my large, huge cup of coffee. But you know what? It's the
Mm.
day is kind of weird. I don't want to have another cup of coffee because it's too much. So I had me some. I'm having me some tea, green tea.
Oh,
I
okay.
know,
Well,
right?
yeah,
I know. I'm
well,
shocked
that's good.
myself.
I know. I was like, okay. Okay. So, Miss
But it's a good
Nextdoodle.
day for a warm tea.
Yes, it's a very
Yes,
good
yes,
day
ma'am.
for it. So, Miss Nexie, today we're talking about dangers on just dangers in general from entertainment, like movies, TV, the social media, all kinds of things. And today's topic is check on your kids and your vulnerable loved ones' devices. I'm going to start off by saying,
It,
kids a lot of
mhm.
times
Very
will
important.
go ahead, Miss Nexie.
No, no, I was gonna say a very important topic to be had because you know, you when my kids were growing up, all I had to worry about was they were writing in those little, those secret notes, the secret notes notebook. That's all I had to worry about. Make sure that they had nothing else but pens and pencils and color, pens and pencils in their backpacks. No illicit anything. That's all I had to worry about. But nowadays, oof,
Mhm. Yep. Now it's so much that parents, caregivers, or whoever has to worry about with children. It's not just a lot of times as parents we think about the dangers of children and the outside, like when they're out and about, but we don't really they don't really think about, okay, what are they watching on TV, on the internet, what is on their phone or their tablets, their devices on the computer. And don't even get me started about talking about the parents who think that a device can babysit them. Then they leave them all day
yeah,
with their device.
the device can babysit them, and they don't turn on, parental control or anything of those things. They just give them the devices, and yeah, they're good babysitters because they keep your kid sitting where you left them, but at the same time, it's not a babysitter, right? That's the one thing we need to understand. It's not that. It's actually not allowing your child to walk around, exercise, do the things that, normal kids do. They're just glued to that device. But if you are that type of person, we're not bashing anyone. That's not what we're trying to do. But if you are the type of parent that gives, your children devices, just make sure that you have, parental control on, so that they cannot go into places that they are not supposed to be.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And one thing that I found that I like is an app. It's probably different for what you call it, Android than for iPhone, but they do have a mirroring device that as a parent you can download onto your phone, and you can connect your child's phone with yours. So anything that they're looking at on the phone, it pops up on your phone as well. If you just go into the app, you can look at all the things, the websites they went to, and text messages that were sent. You see it all. And, and some people
And
will say that that's not a good thing and you don't trust your child, but I think differently. It's not that I don't trust my kid, it's just that I don't trust everybody else.
no, I don't trust my kid. Day and I said it. No, no, no. It's that I'm the parent. You know what I mean? And trust, as I tell everybody else, is earned. Right now, I can trust my child in every way possible. I can, but at the same time, I don't have to trust them all the way possible, because they're kids. It takes the one curiosity to for them to change and start lying to you, or being of like shifty. And so you have to be careful. Like I know that a lot of parents says, oh, no, that's invading my child's privacy, this and that. But for me, it's always been, as long as you live under my roof, your privacy is my privacy as well. You can't allow your children to have that type of privacy at home, especially right now. Marlene, you and I have been going to a friend's um, channel. And I'm not going to say names, but
Mhm.
we've been going to their channels, and we are seeing what it's possible to be done over these devices, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of sick people out there. And I'm not going to say men, because Marlene, you and I have learned following those friends of ours that it's not just males, it's females at an alarming rate too. So, because we are seeing all of those things that are happening to our children through their devices. As a parent, if I was a parent of a young child, no, I don't trust them. I don't care. I'm going to check everything, because that's my job as his or her parent. That's my child. I'm the parent. So I have to check those devices. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
I don't trust them.
I'm in agreement. See, but I think it's because I was helicopter child. I was a helicopter. My parents helicoptered me. That I'm like, I can't look at everything, but I do have that app where I want to see what you're texting, and I want to see the text messages. I want to see, what websites you're going to, all of those things. But there's also within that too, with you have to have conversations. You can't just be like, oh, let me see your device, let me have this. It can't be all rules. As a parent, you also have to have the conversations too. You have to say, like,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't trust you, even though I'm giving them the side eye. It's not that I don't trust you, but but what had happened was, there's weirdos, there's predators, and there's also cyberbullying. Like, kids can be in
Yes.
school,
Oh my God.
and
Yes.
they can be bullied by kids in their school or bullied by the internet. There's lots of things. So, it's just a protective measure as a parent, not that you don't trust your child, but because you want to protect them from dangers, not just what they may do, but what people who are looking for those who are inexperienced or just don't, just are very trusting. Yeah, we have to do that.
wanting to take advantage of our children. And for me, um before having the internet on our phone, my kids had those phones because my kids, are older than most of the people that follow us, I guess. My kids are old, they're grown, they're out of the house, they have their own lives, their own families. But when my kids were younger, in their teens, that's when the phones came out, those little brick phones, that the only thing they could do besides phone calls were texts, right?
Hmm.
So I remember when I used to get the because in the beginning was, those prepaid things, but I will go through their phones and see their numbers, and I have all of their, friends' numbers and their parents, because we've lived here for a long time. So I will compare the phone numbers. Oh, this is so and so. Okay, this is so and so, to make sure, because, like, again, you never know who they're talking to, right? They can give their phone number to a stranger, and this person, my thinking is, could be calling them in the middle of the night. Nowadays is different. It's totally different than it was for us. Now they have access to the internet on their phones, pictures, videos, and a lot of people that are preying on our kiddos ask those things of them because they're available now. So parents have a lot more to worry about than I did. A lot more that, they have to be on the
Aware.
lookout for they have to now be worried that their child is not going to be taken advantage of that way. And so it is important, like you say, Marlene, to have those apps in place, where you can keep track of everything they do. Make sure that you talk to them and tell, that you have that open, relationship. And I don't mean be their best friend. What I mean is have that relationship where they can come and tell you anything that they're going through, anything, and you won't, overreact or anything like that. So
Hmm.
so they can feel comfortable with you as a parent. But I do have those devices on my son. His computer, he has a guest, um I guess either my son, my oldest son, or myself, we're the administrators. So my autistic son only has, access as a guest, and we have all of those restrictions in place. He cannot change, and he cannot do anything because since we're the administration, he needs a password, and he doesn't have it yet, because I try to hide it as much as I can, because he will overtower you, Marlene, to learn your password. He learns it because he has like like memory, like this, what do they call, picture memory, or photographic memory.
Yeah,
He
photographic.
sees the thing one time and he memorizes it. Yeah, photographic. So he has that. So we're always hiding things that we don't want him, because he'll remember them with one
Yeah,
glance.
you'll remember.
But I have those devices in place. I still have them because he is a special needs child. He'll be easy prey for anyone out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it, because you have a special needs son, and I have a special needs sister, which I now, she's my daughter, because
Mm-hmm.
that's just how it is. And we have to be the ones, because they're so open and they're just so innocent and sweet. They fall for anything. They will believe anything,
Mm-hmm.
like phone calls. Oh, we need your social security number, we need your this, we need your photo ID, we need all these things, we need your debit card. and
Mm-hmm.
and she would try the card. I was like, you do? I was like, okay. So I've given her what I call a dummy um, debit card, which is one of those ones that you have to load money on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The
So she
prepaid, right? The
Yeah, the
prepaid
prepaid,
ones.
yeah. So I see from time to time like a charge that gets declined. I was like, interesting. Yeah,
I
because that's how it goes. She's very, trusting in that way, and that's one of the reasons why you want to give them freedom, but at the same time, the people out there cannot be trusted.
yeah.
And I feel it's
There you go.
disgusting. I feel it's disgusting the people who try to victimize the children, special needs, elderly, disabled, anybody who is in that vulnerable population that really doesn't comprehend everything that they need to, or they've slowed down, or whatever the case may be. And those are the people they
Yeah,
try to victimize.
they target. Those are the people that they target, and they're heartless. Like, how can you do that to a vulnerable person? And the same thing goes for our elderly. My mom is older, and my dad. I didn't have to worry so much about him because he's back home, but we had to warn my mom so many times. Don't do this. And my mom is very sharp. She's like, "Oh, I know. They've tried it, but I don't give them any information." And so whenever, let's say, she will get a phone call from the IRS, or a letter from a place like the IRS, or her Cal and stuff like that, asking her for something, she'll always have me or one of my brothers read, whatever it is that they had sent her. And so one day I find this letter, that is supposed to be from the IRS. Okay. And they're asking my mom to send $2,000 of back taxes that she had not paid, blah, 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 blah. And so they're asking her for that. And I'm like, wait a minute. When did you? I do my taxes every year. I don't know. It just came. So I wanted to send the money, but I wanted you to see it first before I sent it. I said, no, 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 don't send it. Wait a minute. Let me get to you, because she lives like 2.5 hours away from me. And I've asked her, Mom, can you take a picture of it and send it to me? I don't know how to do that. Mom, I show you like 10 times.
Yeah.
And so I had to ask one of the neighbors, can you call so and so and ask him to come and take the picture and send it to me, please? Oh, okay, I'll wait for him. I said, so don't send anything. So we come to find out, Marlene, that the letter that she had received, yes, it looked like an original letter from that place, the IRS, of the
Mm.
money she owed, except that the phone numbers on the bottom, right? I'm like, wait a minute, the IRS doesn't have a 742 area code.
Yeah, it's a 1-800 number.
And not only that, it has this, when it's collection, they send you that and you have to call them, right? They don't send you the amount you owe. They tell you, you owe an amount for us. Please call us to verify that this is you, blah, blah, blah. So there's steps that you need to take, right? And so I'm like, okay. I said, you know what, Mom? I go, let me just hold on to the letter. But it says I have to send it in the next 2 days. I said, Mom, don't. I said, just wait, and I'll drive over there. Tomorrow's my day off, so I'll go tomorrow and I'll stay with you until we fix this. So we called the 74 whatever number, straight to voicemail. Nobody answered. I go into the website. It tells me there's an error. No such thing as that website. I called the number again. The second time, third time, no answer. The fourth time, it's a disconnected number.
Mm.
Yep. And so I told my mom, I said, you see, I said, you cannot just send them. Well, I don't want to be in bad standing. I said, Mom, that wasn't even them. So ever since that scare, she's been very, careful with everything. She tells, like I said, either me or one of my brothers. And, because we're the only ones, the three that are here. So she asks either one of us to help her with those things, because they don't know, they're older. They haven't dealt with as much technology as you and I have.
Yep.
So it
And
is
that's
important for
yeah,
us
and
to
that's what
continuously be available for them.
and that's one of the reasons why they, are praised. They're preyed on because of their lack of
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, their lack of skill when it comes to maneuvering technology. Because if it has been one of us, of course, the first thing I'm going to do is go, what is the website for the IRS? What is the phone number for the IRS? And it would have been like, nope, that's not them. And that would have been the end of it. But because they don't know how to do that and don't
Mm-hmm.
understand, and because they're so trusting, that's how they get them.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's not even that it doesn't have to be just family, Marlene. You can have, an older neighbor that you can be checking on. If you don't see that there's people, make friends with them, because a lot of times that can save them from a lot of, mishaps or troubles or whatever. Make sure that in the community that you're keeping an eye on your neighbors as well, especially the elderly retired ones.
The ones that are,
I
as I
have neighbors. What was that, Marlene? I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just saying, especially those who probably have lost spouses, the widows, and they have kids, but maybe their kids live in another state or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be so careful. And I see Miss Nancy just came in. Nancy Perrin Ministries, welcome.
Hello, Nancy. Welcome. And again, and I was telling you earlier, I have neighbors. I've been living in the same, neighborhood in the same city for almost 30 years. So I'm,
Mhm.
very familiar with my neighbors, like the ones in front of me. It's like three or four different houses that I know. Next to me, I pretty much know everybody on towards the end of the block, and behind my house, I know like four different people because our fences kind of overlap, right? And I always try to make sure that I say hi to the neighbors because they're older. They're an elderly couple. They have a daughter, but she lives like probably like an hour or so away from the parents. So we're friends. So I'm always keeping an eye on them. If I don't see them, I go to their house and knock on the door. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we haven't been out there. It's been raining, or he was sick, or she was sick." So I always make sure that they're doing okay, because you have to check on people. I know we're not used to that, but I think we have to go back to that, because a lot of the
You know,
things that are happening and going on right now is because people are not caring anymore.
yeah, the whole thing about is that life is never going to stop being busy. But I always say, how are you too busy for your own people that you care about and love? I don't know. Maybe I'm just wired different. Maybe people are different, but I can't understand that. Even if I'm at work or whatever, it doesn't matter. You should, and people say, oh, I'm busy. Yeah, you're so busy that you never know what it could be. It could be something very important, like they're not feeling well, or whatever the case may be. Most of the time, those who are elderly or special needs or something, they don't just call you just because they call you in cases of something that's important.
Exactly. And the thing here, like where I live, there is probably in the same street that I live in, there's probably five or six special needs. They're adults now, like my son. They're a little bit older than my son, but they have gone through the same schools, same teachers, same bus drivers. So we have known each other even without really being in the school at the same time, because their kids are probably like 5, 10 years older than my son. So, but we know each other. We become friends. So now, the kids are not no longer in school, so we still keep an eye on each other's kids, even though they're
That
not in school, because we have formed friendships. And I've been, like I said, I've been here for so long that it become like a second family to all of us.
Yeah.
We all used to meet at the bus stop when we're putting them on, on their buses, respective buses, or if there was like an activity at school, even though they were in different grades than my son, we will all meet at the school, and see each other there. So, we formed these friendships, but I've noticed that a lot of people are not as friendly with us as we were when our kids were younger. Like the younger generation, they don't say hi to you. They don't
Hmm.
acknowledge that you're there. They're not really friendly. They're
Yep.
more
Because
like to themselves.
but I, what I think it is, Miss Nexie, is that everybody is so, I talked about it on my other podcast channel about social media is making people weird because
Yes.
social media is supposed to be making people become more social and having those important conversations and helping people to learn and to grow and to be a better person and to heal from certain things. But people are so busy on their devices or making phone calls or whatever they're doing with their devices that they tune themselves out from the things that are important. Like, what could be more important than your loved ones or your neighbor? I grew up, knowing all the neighbors on my street, all of them,
Mm-hmm.
all of them. I knew everybody by name,
Exactly.
and we called each other. I miss this one, Mister that, and you better have said hello to them, or you were going to get a SWAT to the rear end. That's just what you better have. Hmm.
It's true. And Marlene, that Miss so and so, Mr. So and so.
Hmm.
When if I had ever called one of my neighbors by their first name, I would not have teeth today. I'll be
What
a toothless person.
what teeth, Nexie? I wouldn't be alive.
So I was walking, saying hi to everybody, and my son, my autistic son, he calls his teachers Miss So and So, Mister So and So, because that's how I thought him. And
Mhm.
so when I used to see his little friends, I used to see them around this, the city where I live. I used to see them on Target sometimes or Walmart, and they will call me Miss So and So's mom. Hi, because they didn't know my name, so they will call me my son's name, mom. So Miss So and So's mom, and it was funny because even though they didn't know my name, they're pretty much old school like we are, so they had the miss. Now I hear kids at at the schools calling their teachers by their first names,
Mhm.
the TAs by their first names, and it's like it's weird to me.
Yeah.
I take a second look, like, did he just said that? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Or their
had.
parents' friends by their first name, or it's so
Mhm.
different. It's so different than when you and I were growing up.
Yeah, because I've had somebody much younger, like 20 years younger than me, call me Marlene. And I said, I miss Marlene to you. Thank you very much. And he looked at me like all surprised. You may be an adult. You can be
Yeah,
18 all you want to, but you're no, no, no. You're still gonna call me Miss because I could be your
I
mom.
yeah, or that I remember when growing up, Uncle so and so, Auntie so and so. I've heard a few people, in not in my family, but the extended side of the family, called their uncles and aunts by their first name.
Mhm.
No longer auntie, no longer uncle, just so and so. I'm like,
Oh,
wow, this is different.
Miss Nexie, I'm not gonna tell you what I did when I got grown. I thought I got grown one day. I because I turned 21 because I was like, I'm grown. So I went to the house and I called my mom by her first name. I was like, hey, Gloria. Oh, I mean, you could
How
slice the
many teeth
tension
did
in
you
that
get knocked
room.
out?
No, you could slice the tension in that room because it was my mom and all her friends and my dad and his friends. And I'm like, but I was like, what? And I was looking at everybody like, but I'm grown now. I was like, you guys don't know I just turned 21.
Yeah, they were paying you the respects because they knew that was your last day on Earth.
Yeah, everybody was like, oh,
That's why they were quiet.
they're looking at my mom and dad like, what are you gonna do with
They were
this?
quiet, saying, "This is her last day on Earth."
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those like, girl, it was one of those like,
So what happened? Oh, you're still here.
oh yeah, I'm still here, but I was in the kitchen, so it was one of those things that my mom and dad got up really quickly and pushed me into the room, and yeah, that was the end of that. 10 minutes later, yeah.
No, as far as I have gotten is when we were, I think we were like on a cookout with my siblings and my mom, and she took something from. I was about to use something, and then she took it first. I think it was a salt, and she took it, and I said, "Woman, put it back." She just looked at me like I was
What?
about to leave this earth.
Mm, yeah, but I'm not gonna say what happened in that room with my mom and dad, but I was reminded. I have many flashbacks of that day, and I still wake up with night sweats.
Yeah, no, all I got was the look, and then she said, "Can I talk to you?" And my siblings were like, "Goodbye. We really loved having you on this earth. We'll bring flowers to your grave, sis." Worry
Yep,
about it.
they'd
I'm
be
like,
like, "It's
what?
nice knowing you."
What did I
Yeah,
say?
yeah, exactly.
Then
So, Miss
and
Nexie.
yeah, they're like, "Don't worry, we know that kind." I'm sorry, Marley. There's the gardeners outside and it's making a ruckus. So I'm gonna put it
Oh,
on mute as
don't
much as
worry
I can.
about that. Don't worry about that. I was going to shift the conversation just a little bit and start talking about the ones that we tend to forget about. Um, and that's the children that are like in the preteen or the teen, you know even though they're getting older and we're giving them more freedom and all of those things, we still have to be looking and protecting them, even though they could be a teen, maybe between the age of 12 to 14. They still don't understand everything, and they still don't have a lot of experience and understand so many things. And like we've said many times, parents have to get back to parenting. A lot of parents don't parent. They just let devices, they let other people, because they just don't want to put in the work to be a parent. It's being a parent one of the most difficult jobs, but also the most rewarding because of, you're changing someone's life. You're responsible for someone. And we have to get back to taking that seriously by not just saying, I don't want to talk about that, or this conversation makes me feel uncomfortable, or I don't want my kid to be mad at me. That's not enough. It really isn't. It's not enough to just say, I'm uncomfortable, so I'm not going to talk to them. Make sure you're talking to your children about everything, bullying, SAS, SM, all of those things. Talk to them about everything, even tell them some things that happened to you. I'm not just saying this just because I'm trying to be mean or I want to stop your fun, but I'm this way because this is what happened to me. I share very openly and honestly with not only members of my family, but also here on social media, because if I can just protect one person from some of the poor decisions that I made when I was younger, and I didn't want to listen to my parents, and I thought I knew everything. And many things happened to me because I didn't listen. And we didn't have those parental controls when I was growing up. All we had was be home before the street lights come on, and we didn't have house phones. We only had house phones. We didn't have our own personal phone, and we didn't have social media. So it was different types of trouble that I got into growing up. But the dangers are still out there, and we don't want our children to become victim of predators, of people. We call them chomos. I learned that from Bryden, his channel. But it's a lot of um, sick and twisted individuals out there, and we have to protect them, and not just small children, older children, but also those of the special needs community, and also the elderly population. Like we've said before, they don't understand things, and they think that everybody is as nice and as honest as they are. And there's a lot of crookedness, it's a lot of scams, it's a lot of catfishing.
And a lot of times, Marlene, they don't want to overstep. Like if they're teenagers, as you said, oh, I don't want to talk to her like that because we have a great friendship going. We have a great relationship going, and I don't want her to think I don't trust, or I don't want her to think or get mad because I'm overdoing something. And I'm thinking, you're the mom. You're supposed to be overdoing something because these devices are not safe to be just left alone and not check. Make sure that you're protecting them in every way.
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
And I don't. My daughters and I were great. We're great with each other. We talk to each other all the time. I can consider them, a good relationship with them. But that doesn't mean I'm their best friend. I can't. I had to be their mom. I have to be their mom before their best friend.
Yeah. And that's important. It, in these days, it's like parents want so much a friendship from their children that they
¿Va a ser la parte de atrás? Sí, o déjame poner el perro adentro. Ok. ¿Cómo está? ¿Ya? Ok. Oh,
it's like the parents are forgetting um to parent, and we have to bring back parenting. We have to bring back all of the things that probably should be happening, like having conversations, communicating, actually at the, bringing back eating together with your children. What happened at school today? Who are your friends? How's school? And then sit back and listen. Don't overtalk it, don't overtalk it and make children feel bad because they want to have a conversation. Let them have a conversation. Let them talk to you.
oh, not much. It's like $20. Because it doesn't grow soft.
Yes. Hi, Chip. How are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to you. Yeah, and that's the thing about life, is that kids are going to learn from you, or they're going to learn from somebody else, but they're going to learn. And we don't want our kids to learn the bad way. We want them to learn from our mistakes. You kind of want your children to be better than maybe you were, right? You want them to be better than you were. You want them to to be different. You want them to be like a upstanding person. You want them to
Um,
be able to do everything. You want them to be able to
I'm
do
so sorry.
everything
I'm
that.
trying to move. I'm so sorry, Miss Martin. I'm trying to move to an area where you're not gonna hear either the dogs barking or the gardener.
Yeah, so it's
No
okay.
success whatsoever.
That's okay. No
Yeah, go on, Miss
problem.
Martin. You were saying? Go on, go on.
I
I'm
said
here now.
I said we have to I said we have to get back to parenting because a lot of people are scared to parent because they want to be their child's friend, but then at the same time they complain later on when their kids are out of control or when their children get involved in relationships with some strange or weird people, or they become a victim to some crimes. And we know what crimes we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
the crimes against children. And
Exactly.
a lot of things, not saying you can prevent everything because some things you can't prevent, but having conversations, your children should know their private parts. They should know nobody should touch them on their private parts. It doesn't matter who they are. They shouldn't share their private
And
information, where they live, and all of those things.
and that's the thing, Marlene, is that only through parenting is that you're gonna be able to do these things. And I get it. You want to have a good relationship with your child. You want to make sure that they are that you guys communicate, that everything. Yeah, you can do that. You can have a great relationship with your kids. You can communicate wonderfully with them, but you can still be their parent. Because it's what we all do is that we have to make sure that they're first and foremost that they're safe. It's easy for someone to ask for a private picture over the internet. They think that because they're children, they're teens. They think it's not going to go any further than that. But it can be distributed everywhere. How some people do the pee revenge after they break up with someone? It's the same
Mhm.
thing. It's that it can go everywhere, except that they're children. They don't know any better. We as adults, as grown-ups, we already know. Somebody asks me for a picture, I'll be like, are you kidding me? Are you crazy? But they
Mhm.
don't know that. So, for them it's easier, especially if somebody that is older is on the other end of this communication, because a lot of times that's exactly what happens, is that an older person disguises themselves as a younger person, right? And can ask them
Mhm.
in a giggly way the right questions for the wrong things. So I get it. You want to be friends with your kids. You want to have great communication. You can have both. You can have good communication with them. You can be friends with them, and you can be their parent.
Yeah.
For my
Oh.
kids, I told them when they were, when technology was coming up. I think that the difference between other parents and I is that, my husband is an engineer. So he worked in a lot of satellites that we use now for communications, right? So he knew what was coming and how big this was going to be, and how dangerous at the same time, because you had you were gonna have a computer in your hands pretty much and do a lot of good or a lot of damage with it. So we established since the very, very early on, when they first got their phones and their iPads and whatever, is that it was going to be restricted. They were only going to be able to do certain things. He was able to block and put codes, to put a timeout after a certain time. Even our internet died at a certain time
Yes, I
because
remember that.
you have to do whatever it takes as a parent to protect them. They will get upset. They will get mad. I can't believe it. I can't wait until I'm 18. I hate this household. And yeah, they will get upset and everything. But that doubt as a parent that you have, I don't want my child not to ever talk to me, or when she say teen, she's gonna leave and I'm never gonna see her again. No, it's not true. It's funny because I had those worries. I was too strict. Maybe when they get older, they're not going to want to come see me anymore, or they're going to hate me, right? Because we're too strict with them. We're overprotecting them. My daughter said, I think when she was like in her 30s, she took me out to eat one day, and she was like, we were eating and everything, and we were walking, and then she said, thank you, Mom. I wanted to thank you. I've been wanting to thank you for a very long time. I just couldn't find the right words and the right time or whatever. And I said, thank me for what? Says, for being a helicopter, Mom. For all the times that you stopped me from doing certain things that I hated. I hated you for back then. And thank you for teaching me how to be, a good human, a good grown up. My work ethic, my ability to do things, to start and finish them. And thank you for protecting me so much. Thank you, because I am who I am today because of you. And I
Wow.
was like, the big sigh of relief. Okay. So they don't hate me again. But we all worry about that. We worry that because we're putting too many restrictions or we're overprotecting them, they're going to hate us. They don't. As they get older, they learn to appreciate how much you sacrifice to be able to make them the amazing humans that they are.
Mhm. Yep, that's what and I said the same thing when I was younger. I used to, but my thing is the reason why I used to be so upset and angry and sneaking around is because there was no communication on when I was a child. It was just like it was all only things that I ever heard is when I did something wrong. I never got the positive feedback or the preventative. I don't want you to go there because you could it's late, I don't know who's going to be there, I don't know if it's safe there, it could be substances, and we all know what substances we're talking about. It could be substances there that I don't want you to get involved with. We didn't have those conversations. And my mom told me when she got older, she said, I couldn't tell you about those things because I didn't know about that. I didn't grow up in it. So it's me, like, sometimes when we are children and we expect certain things from our parents, but I had to go back because I don't know who knows, but I had an older parent. So when my mom was going to school, they didn't even like the worst thing that ever happened was a kid in what you would call now 12th grade went to school and he was chewing gum. I was like, what? I was like, and that was like a big deal because you didn't chew gum in school because it could get on the desk. It could, and that was everybody was like, oh, he's a bad boy. I was like, Mom, are you kidding me? Bubble gum? So times change, and as parents, you have to understand that school is not how school was when you were a child. It's not.
Mm.
My mom said she
You
didn't know
know,
about bullying and all those things because she said I didn't have to endure that stuff.
again, it's because of you have to get with the times, and because we have to make sure that we're keeping up with everything that's going on. We're like, oh no. But my kids, they will say, oh, don't ask her. She's gonna say her favorite word. No. And I will be like, yep, you know it, because I'll be behind the door listening. Yeah, you know it. That's exactly my favorite word. But I had the time to do this to my kids. What my dad's favorite word was no. And if he will say yes, it'll be okay, yeah, you can go, but you're gonna have to take your brother and your sisters. Or you're gonna we
Um,
were never alone. So we're like, oh, this was a time for me to go on a to hold hands with my love. But we
like
couldn't
I don't
because
want my
my dad would
brother
send us
there.
with. Yeah, so for me, I had to sit down and explain to my kids, no, I cannot let you go because this and this and this, I've seen happen, and you're my child, and I have to protect you. When you get older, these are decisions that you're gonna be able to make on your own because you're gonna have the ability, or you're gonna have a more developed brain. But right now, I can't because there's so many things happening, and I will explain to them exactly, and they will get upset and everything, but they will understand. They'll be like, "Ugh, I can't wait until I'm 18."
Mhm. See, and that's the difference. I'm glad that you were that type of parent, Nexie. I really am. I'm glad you were that type of parent, and more parents need to be that way. And I've heard a lot of people say, I'm not explaining nothing to a child. They're a child. I don't have to tell them why it's no, it's no. And that's what I say. But when we do that, they just say, oh, my parent just says no. And just because you've told them no, now they're going to be attracted to do something. But when you've talked to them, it's no, because now you're giving them empowerment. They're empowered to know, okay, I didn't know this could happen, and this, and show them news reports. And you have to give kids the real, because even if you don't want to discuss it, it doesn't mean when they're out there at school or wherever they don't have dangers, or they don't have things that seem attractive to them that they're going to try to do. But when you have the conversations with them, you're like that little voice in their head. Oh, I remember when my mom or my dad or whoever said this or this to me. And that's one of the best things that can ever happen, is having that sort of openness and that communication. It's so vital that we, as parents, as brothers, sisters, even with your siblings, if they're older, or your older parents and cousins, or whoever, your friends, your neighbors, for us to be protecting of those who are vulnerable. And it has to be someone that has to say, I have to protect them. I have to, even if they get upset, if they get angry, whatever. But one of us has to be the one to say, you know what? I'm going to protect them. I'm going to have the conversations. We're going to communicate. And as parents, and as children, you also have to just sit back and listen sometimes, just to find out what's really going on in their world. Because if you don't let it be
Mm,
open, let them voice their opinion, you just are assuming everything is okay, and it may not be.
yeah, and I'm glad you said that, Marlene. But I want to say something that I should have said earlier. I'm sorry. But the one thing my husband and I agreed, since before we had our kiddos, is that we were gonna be in sync. We were not gonna be those parents that one says yes, the other one says no, and then the other one says, overwrites the other one. We always wanted to make sure that we were in the same page raising them, that we were going to be the type of parent that even if we wanted to say yes because we had already gone there, been there, and we knew it was okay, not a big deal, but if I said no, then it was no. And
So
because
you
I've seen so many
in
cases,
front.
and this is what confuses a lot of kids too, Marlene, and then eventually they rebel against the parents because of it, is that one says yes, the other one says no, and then, or they say, I'm gonna ask my mom. She say, no, it's okay, I'll ask my dad and he's gonna override her. I've heard this before. Oh, or
Listen,
I've heard, oh, it's okay, I can ask her, but your mom already said no. Yeah, but if I ask her 5, 6, 7 times more, eventually she'll say yes.
mhm. Yeah, it's
And
called
I'm like, oh my God.
it's called the United Front. And I know, I'm just being honest. My parents were not united. I know my mom would say no, and I would just go right to my dad, and I said, Dad, and my dad would never say, did your mom say, is it okay? My dad would just say, all right, sure, you can do it. My mom's like, I just told her no. It's like, well, I said yes, so I don't see any problem. They didn't have unity, but
Yeah, but you see, my
that's the
hus
difference.
yeah, my husband was more afraid of me. My husband was more afraid of what's gonna happen if he overrode that. Like, and say they will go to him first. You haven't asked your mom yet? No, but I asked you. No. I'm afraid of your mom. He knew this little spicy chihuahua was going to bite him if he ever overrode what I said. So I think he
Yeah.
was more afraid of me, my reaction, than, of not being a cool dad with the kids. So yeah, or if they will go to him and he will say, yeah, sure, I don't see a problem. What did your mom say yes? She said to ask you. Oh yeah, no, I don't think it's a good. But you just said it was you don't see a problem. Yeah, but thinking about it, you're just afraid of mom, dad. And then he'll go, aren't you guys? Well, yeah, but I didn't think you were that type of man.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So, but he will say yes, and then he'll be like, "Whoa, whoa, wait. Why are you asking? Did you ask mom already?" Yeah, no, not really. Well, I did, but she said that to ask you, and he knew that when I said that is because I was already saying no, but I didn't want to deal with that no at the moment.
Oh,
He's like,
I see.
let me backpedal here. No, you can't go.
Yeah, and that's so important. It's
Yeah,
called
I put fear on this
having a
family,
united front. That united front is so
and
important.
it. Yes, Marlene. Yes, it's so important and it's so crucial for a healthy unit, a healthy relationship, not a hating one, a healthy one.
Mhm.
That even though your kids are gonna, you know, protest, they gonna, in their minds call you every name in the book that they know, right? And they're probably gonna hate you at the moment, but sometimes that hate can save their lives.
Yep, yep. And and
And let them
um
hate
and what
you; they'll get over it.
yeah, I was like, let them be mad, let them be angry. And I was like, they're still gonna want to ride, they're still gonna want some money, they're still gonna want other things, and they'll get over it. And later on, I know that when my mom or my dad has said something to me and I didn't like it, and then after I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that would not have been a good idea. I'm glad they told me no, because later on, like, I find out certain things that happened at those parties or that whatever. And yeah, I'm grateful for it. But I definitely have to say that we have to protect our vulnerable population from the hidden dangers, because they don't understand, and they're very trusting. They think everybody who is behind the name, behind the avatar, is their age or that's their friend, when it could be
And
somebody lurking
exactly,
in danger.
or who they say they are, right? I'm a
Hmm.
17-year-old, blah blah blah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm 16. They're 17. Okay, cool. It can be a 50, 60, 40, whatever year old, male or female, because nowadays we don't know.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I was so happy when I was watching, when I was following our friends. I'm so happy. Oh my God, I'm so happy that my kids are grown. I don't have to worry. And then I started thinking about my granddaughter. I'm like, oh my God, I have to worry about my
Yep.
baby now. No, I don't want to watch
Mhm.
this anymore. But we follow and we watch and we do these things because we understand that how dangerous, or the dangers, we understand the dangers, I should say, and how dangerous it is for us not to do it. We can
Yeah.
have, like I said, because it's healthy for them to get upset at you. It's okay. That's their job. And your
Mhm.
job is to make them upset. I'm just kidding. No, it's okay, to for them to get upset. It's okay because they don't understand. And nobody likes the word no. You can't. Not today. We don't like that. When we're set on doing something, those are the words we hate the most.
Mhm.
Because we're set up on doing something. But it's important for us to parent. It's important for us to say, let me see your device. I'm going to go through it, honey, from now on. I'm going to give you this device, but know that I'm going to ask you for it from time to time, or say no, that I'm going to go through it, every night, just to make sure that, it's working well and there's nothing there that can put you in danger.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that we need to remember, is that we're the parent. They're not the parent. We are. We have to do these things to keep them safe. I heard a lot of people, Oh, I don't have to do that. I trust my kid. My daughter will never, my son will never do that. Don't say that, because you don't know. Your child may not be thinking that he or she is doing this, but the person behind that avatar, as you said, Marlene, can't be doing
Mhm.
just the thing that you say your child will never do. And it's not their fault, but they're going to fall in it because this other person is doing it to your child, it's putting them in
Mhm.
danger. So we cannot say never, will never ever, because you don't know. Unless you're vigilant, you're making sure that, you're putting those, parental controls on their devices, including my TVs have that, Marlene.
Mine too. But
My TVs, my computers,
the TVs, the computers, the apps, the iPads, everything has a parental
everything.
control. Yep, everything.
Yep. Yep. I just make them a guest account and my parental control is on lockdown. Okay.
Mhm.
So, because, and the funny thing is, I didn't do that in the beginning with my son when he was younger. I bought him this little tablet and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hook it up to my Amazons and everything. Well, I was
Mhm.
seeing all these purchases. Oh, when did I order that? I don't remember ordering that. And then my account will be deducted. Oh, this nice set of headphones. I don't remember ordering that. How? Oh, no, he was making purchases from my Amazon account. I was like, oh my
Mhm.
God. Like five, six,
Yeah.
$700 later. I'm like, I better take that out of it because he can do it. I thought he couldn't, but he's smart enough to know that he can.
Mhm. Yeah. And I have to say,
We just have to protect them.
talking about apps, before I say that, hey Dawn, how are you doing? I just wanted to say that, talking about apps, you were talking about apps like Amazon, but also we have to think about social media that, children join, like, I'm not going to name them, but we all know the social media sites. Be careful about what they're doing on there.
Mm.
They're on there, doing these dances, or your children are dressing provocative. You don't want your children getting that sort of attention. You don't want it. Sometimes, especially when the kids are young, they want that attention, especially the ones that don't have a two-parent household and they're looking for attention. You have to be very vigilant about what
Mm-hmm.
sites your children are on and watching their sites, but also, even having conversations that the reason why I say I don't want you wearing a top that's a midriff is because it can attract other men who are weird and they'll want to do things to harm you. They may try to grab you and take you in a van. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be explicit to the audience, but you have to talk to children that way so that they can get it, or they can follow you home
Not only that,
and find
Marlene,
out where you live. On and on it goes.
and that's a great point you brought up right now, because a lot of kids will say, well, it's just my friend group. I'm just doing it to only my friends have this. But you don't know if your friend has an uncle or an auntie that is not all put together.
Mhm.
You don't know if your friend left a device there and this person got your video or send it to themselves or your photo and now wants to know where you're at, or you know what I mean, or it's going to come after. You don't know these things, and this is why it's important for us to make sure that they're not doing that type of um, those type of videos, or posting those type of photos, because there's some photos that are not appropriate because for their age to be put on a platform like that. I was looking at my Facebook account the other day, and I have not updated my pictures in like 15 years.
Mm.
Like seriously, and I think that all we have there is like Halloween pictures, or no, we're with masks or different makeup stuff. So I don't, I think one family photo, but that's it. But that, you see, that account is just for my family and a few friends that I know. I don't use that on anybody, on that account on anyone, but still I don't update it. I don't upload anything,
Mhm.
because for me it's getting too scary. It's getting to be too much. The people are getting they can even do the Photoshop. They can get your body and or your face and put it in somebody else's body and do things like that, harmful things to you. So we have to be vigilant. We have to be careful. We have to constantly be checking their devices, who they're friends with. They make sure that they're not putting themselves in danger without knowing that that's what they're doing, which is the whole point of this, right, Marlene? That they do it
Mhm.
without knowing sometimes that that's what they're doing, putting themselves in danger.
Yep. That I think that's the reason why it's important to have conversations. And Dawn says, I think I have everything so public. I just don't like posting. And this is I will say is for adults too. Be careful what you're putting. People, we live in this society where everybody overshares. And of course, I'm not telling anybody what to do. And every people here are grown, but I will always advocate for children. You can put yourself all you want to on social media, but please stop posting your children and where they go to school,
Yeah,
who their
that's
friends are, and putting up
oh,
videos of kids at concerts and parties. Um, you don't know who in is like, salivating at your kids because this is how twisted and sick they are. I could just reach from the screen and
it,
just, you know, but you don't know who's looking at your kids and
that's
like,
exactly why.
yeah.
Who's looking at your kids with those eyes? And that's the thing. I've seen on when I used to go when my kid was in school, because he's no longer, he already graduated high school, so he's no longer there. But I remember when we used to go to different activities and at the school site, I will see the parents filming their kids going through the school and filming where the school was and everything. And I will be thinking, like, why are you doing this? And I get it, you're gonna post it on Facebook. We had this and this, or on YouTube, right? Oh, we went to my kid's party. They're gonna know their school name. All they gotta do is Google it and see where it's at, and oh, they don't know the city. Really, it's as easy as mapping it up and saying, "Hey, find this city." The computer will do it, or find this school, and or they can put landscapes, find this particular landscape, and it will be found, right?
Mhm.
It's as easy as that. You cannot, I always make sure that the whatever I was filming of my son stayed in my phone. That's it, just my phone, so I can look at it later. I think it's so, especially if you're filming somebody else's kids on your video, which is gonna happen. Like, I don't appreciate that. So whenever they will like they will be recording, right, around, I will tell them, nope, not me or my son, please. Or I will take my son away if I didn't want to say anything like that, because people don't understand is that you're getting somebody else's child there too, and you're putting that particular child in danger now.
Mhm. And for those of you who do content creating, it's certain apps. And also with the YouTube, if you upload your video to YouTube before you upload it, they have some editing things where you can blur out the background. So just
Mm-hmm.
FYI for anybody who didn't know, because you may not be able to cut them out because of your editing software, but
But you can blur them.
you can blur people in the background. And that's something that I always try my best to do when I see a child in the background, because yeah, we want to protect other,
Yeah,
not
you don't want
just
to do that.
my kids, anybody's kids.
Exactly, and again, it's important, and I did the same thing. I explained the same thing to my kids. If you're gonna take pictures, you're gonna be posting that. Make sure it's just you that you're posting, if you have to, and make sure it's something, a picture that is not revealing anything else. If you have to post it, I
Mhm.
they don't share where locations and stuff like that. I told them always be careful, don't be oversharing, because you never know, they might not be after you, they might be after someone that you're with, because you're tagging them, right? The problem is that you're
Mhm.
gonna get hurt because this person is after that other person. They're not going to stop and think, oh no, I'm not going to hurt her because, she's not the one I'm after. They're just going to do whatever they have to do. And you might be, you might going to get the ramifications of that person's ordeal. So you have to be careful. Whenever I go somewhere, I had this person that I used to go out with, a coworker, and oh my God, she'll be posting where we were at and tagging me in it. And I told her, she did it twice. And I called it out to her. I said, I thought the first time was a mistake, but I see that that's what you do. I said, please don't be putting down where we're at. Don't put location. Don't tag me in it. Don't do that. If you do that again, I'm going to stop coming out to eat with you because I don't want people to know where I'm at. It's too dangerous. And you shouldn't be doing that either. If you want to send your location to an individual so they can know where you're at in case something happens, do that. But don't post it on social media for everybody to see. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? I said, and I stopped going because she continued to do so. Because it was, her followers or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. Just don't tag me in it. And so I stopped. And she
Mm-hmm.
asked me later on, like, why don't you go out with us anymore? I said, because you don't stop doing what I asked you to stop doing. And I'm not going to put myself in harm's way just to have lunch with you. I said, no, I don't like it. I don't do that. I don't like it. And I don't appreciate when people, don't respect the fact that I don't like that. So to avoid us any confrontations or to avoid us becoming, not friends anymore or not good coworkers, I just stopped going out with you. That's it. That was the solution.
It's simple. And
Simple.
some people who are, your relatives, they want to, put pictures of their nieces, their nephews, their cousins, other people's kids, or, in our case, your special needs relatives on social media, and they have it public where anybody can view it. They don't have it private. For me, I feel like something, if it's just amongst the family, that's one thing. But when they have it on a public domain where anyone can view it, uh-uh, I don't like that. Mm-mm.
Hmm.
It's just
And
a,
even Marlene, even when they have it like just for family, like I said before, they can have a friend there and they're opening, their whatever to see their nieces or nephews or whatever. Someone that you don't know might look at it and say, "Oh, I like that." You know what I mean? Oh, that little one is cute or whatever. You don't know their intentions. So why not just send them pictures on text like we all do? Don't post it on social media.
yeah. And that's one of the reasons, Miss Nexty, why I made a decision when a baby was born in my family. You know which baby that is. I made a decision to never
Hmm.
show. I made a decision to never show. I showed, the baby shower and that, he was going to be born, but I never have shown him because I want to protect him.
Yeah, my grandbaby was born. Her mama has posted and you've seen it because I sent it to you, right? She's posted it on a place only friends and families, and she only posted the photo session that they did with her and her baby, and that's it. She's not over posting. She's not putting her picture everywhere. She has one, I think, of a party that they went to. She has one with her sitting down. That's all she has. There's none on or posted all over Facebook and stuff like that, or everyday posting. No, she sends it to individuals, but not on a like Facebook or YouTube or anything like that or TikTok. She doesn't,
Hmm.
and
You
that's the
know,
way
I
it's supposed to be. We got to protect them.
I always say that, everybody is free to do what they want to. And I feel some type of way. I know this may get some backlash from some people, but I feel some type of way from the people who make content of their kids. I feel like, well, how do you know that that kid is going to want their whole life shown on social media?
Exactly. Their brain is not even developed to the point where, they can think for themselves. What if later on this becomes something that, something worse. Like, I think it's because we have seen so much as of late, Miss Marlene, on those channels that we go to. But it is a good topic to bring up because there is such a thing as oversharing. There is. Oh my God, there is.
There is.
And for me, again, for me, is important that we have these topics because maybe nobody has ever been able to tell them this, right? Like the oversharing, like, protect them. Maybe to them is something that since they've grown up with it, it's okay to do. But we're not in times right now because we're seeing what is happening, with people that are over posting. We're seeing, the outcome of certain things. And so we have to, come back and remind them, hey, you know what? It's okay that you love your child and everything. But, just keep it between you. One or two posts every so often, every 6 months will be nice, but don't overdo it. Protect them. We have to protect our kiddos. We have
Yeah,
to,
like
and we have to. Some people, like I said, they grew up with that, so they don't know any better.
yeah, like we said, this is an oversharing society. But how do you know that your kids want to be on your social media feed when they can't even speak up for themselves and to say what they want? So, just some food for thought. Great
Hmm.
topic, Miss Nexie. Do you have any final words?
Just simple that. Don't overshare. Don't overpost, and don't be sharing your location. That's the number one thing. Don't be sharing your location. Share with a private person. If you want to tell your sister where you're going, you send them the location. You can do that through text. It's so many dangers out there. So many people that are unhinged that the last thing you want is to give that person exactly where you're at. Because sometimes we don't even know that these people are after us, right? So, just don't overshare. Don't overshare, and make sure that you're checking your children's devices, that you're checking your elders. Make sure that you're on top of the things that they can be scammed with, their telephones. Make sure that you're checking their bank accounts, and that you're on top of all the legal stuff for them so that they don't get scammed. And the same goes for our children. Make sure you're checking their devices. You're the parent. We're not trying to be disrespectful or anything. It's just that we see so many things happening. Like I said before, I worked in an area where I saw the worst of what
Mhm.
humanity can do to a child. That for me is imperative that I tell people, take care of them, protect them, because I don't want them in my place of work, right? I don't want to
Mhm.
be the one having to heal this child. So protect them as much as you can. We all love our children very, very much, but we don't have to overshare how much we love them. So protect them at all times. That's the only thing I can leave everybody with today, Marlene.
Yes, and it's a great
Thank you
great
for having
point.
me.
No problem. I really appreciate it. And thank you all so much. Those of you who are tuned in live, those who are watching in the replay, my replay loved ones, I really appreciate every single one of you. Please protect your kids, your special needs, those who have disabilities, whether mental or physical. Also, the elderly population, the older ones, anybody who is vulnerable to any form of attack, financial, physical, and even sexual. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Miss Nexie. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Hey,
much,
Jack.
Miss Marlene. And until next week. And
Until
until
next
next
week,
week with another great topic.
another
Everybody
great
stay
topic.
safe, protected. Yes, ma'am. Have a good day, everybody.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. If you have not already, please hit the like, and we will definitely see you guys on the next Sip and Chat. Bye bye.